Hello, my name is Kerrioth, and today we're just going to do a quick little weekend range review for the Saar gang from Necromunda. And this is going to be a little bit different because there's going to be a bit of a explanation as to what I'm intending to use these guys specifically for, as I do have a box on the way. I'm going to try and make this one relatively short, mostly because my kids are having a nap and I reckon I've got 20 minutes before one or both of them decides that they don't want a nap after all. So let's get into it. Firstly, the gang itself just looks really good. They have a really fun, I'd say almost unique style. They seem closer in terms of body armor and stuff. They have more of an assassin feel than anything else. There are a couple of Necromunda gangs that you could run as kind of Penal Legion, or you could adapt to be Imperial Guard or some sort of resistance fighting type thing. Orlocks being a very good example of that. This is for me, alongside Solar Auxilia in that interesting range of humans that just have a bit more going on. There's a bit more high-tech stuff happening. And these guys are, the whole point of the Saar gang is that they are higher tech. And it is reflected really well in the armour. But it's just enough to still look human without looking totally alien. Although there are some really cool alien bits on these guys. Thinking specifically about the three, good counting, the kind of 4 lenses on some of their helmets. Also these cybernetic tendril things coming out of the back of the heads. I'll be honest, I don't know what they do. I don't know what they're for. I just know they look different and unique, and they give this gang just an air of alien to them. It helps, of course, that the models themselves, as with pretty much all the Necromunda stuff, are really, really solid. There's a nice amount of detail. They've got a decent amount going on, but I don't think they're hugely over-complex. They are still, to me, they still look like the kind of thing where you don't need to be kind of intimidated painting them, but at the same time, there are some nice details that you could pick out and really kind of go the extra mile on if you wanted to. Thinking specifically the kind of torso going down across the stomach to the waist, you've got that kind of segmented look to the armour, which is something that I think is pretty unique to them. Can't think of anything else that's really got that in Necromunda, at least, and I'm struggling to think of anything that really specifically mirrors that in terms of general 40k. The weapons, of course, I really like. They are recognisably kind of human/Imperium, but they're augmented. They look higher tech. They look more interesting. They look almost more experimental. But it almost looks like there's too much reliability going on for it to be truly experimental. Also, a decent amount of plasma, as you can see. Apart from that guy, who's clearly got Melter. Now, they do have a couple of things I'm not 100% sure about. These shields. They're a bit too close to the old Necron green rods for me, and I think you could do interesting things with them. I would be tempted to... Well, I say I would be tempted to. If I were to use them, I would probably be tempted to try and do some sort of to kind of block them out, or at least make them not that colour translucent and kind of put some sort of freehand effect on. Whether that would work or not is entirely up in the air, given my freehand ability. It probably wouldn't, but they have, I don't know, they look okay, but I don't think it's something that you necessarily want to just stick on as is. I think it's something that would benefit from a bit of customization and a bit of messing about with some paint. Overall, there's a really nice mix of poses for this gang as well. You've got some repeated ones, as you usually do have, but there's enough variety in weapon loadout and stuff that I think you could probably get round that. Looking at it, the way that they've built a few on here, there are some that are a bit too similar in a way, but even if they're not designed to go together with different arms to kind of really alter the poses, generally speaking, you can kind of hack your way around it. I mean, looking at the sprue, this is one of the things I like about these, you've got all these weird kind of extra sci-fi pieces going on. You've got those kind of cybernetic tendrils that you can see. You've got little shoulder pads, and there's all sorts of just little techie gribbly bits to stick on things. It's kind of difficult to... Mind you, actually, looking at it, I think probably with a bit of careful messing, you could probably mess about with the arms a fair bit. I mean, the Palatine Enforcers, which I really like that kit, having put 2 boxes of those together now. They are a little tricky if you want to really vary up the different weapons and stuff, and if you want to go against the instructions that they come with, but it is possible, and to me, some of the joins look a little bit similar on these guys, so I'd imagine it's a similar situation, where if you really want to, you can, but it might take a little bit of extra work. I'll be able to report back on that when I actually get my box of these. So, that is one of the things I want to talk about, because I do have a box of these on the way. And I've got a box of these on the way because I got overexcited. I got excited about Necrons. Now, as most of you probably know at this point, I had a Necron army back in 3rd when they got their codex, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. I've not had it for a long time. I think I sold it to fund something else, but I can't remember what. Is that one that I gave to a friend so they could start playing? I can't remember. But the model for Illuminor Zeraz, the new model for that, and the stuff about the Silent King coming back, really kind of pushed me back over the edge towards thinking that I think, for the most part, the Dread Mob is done. It's mostly done. I'm adding bits here and there, but it's not got any of the drive that it had before, because I've got 23 Dreadnoughts at this point. I think I'm all Dreadnoughted out for maybe a couple of months. I wanted something that I could quickly, slam together and just do a quick paint job on, and Necrons fit the bill pretty nicely. And I also got excited about the whole Pariah thing, because Pariahs were awesome. Pariahs were really cool. I had quite a few Pariahs, and I really like the idea of those coming back, and I thought, well, even if they don't necessarily fully come back, surely there's something I could do to do some sort of background for my Necron force that would enable me to have more humanish, sort of fleshy bits going on, because that would be kind of fun. And I thought about these guys. So I have a box of these on the way, along with 2 boxes of Immortals. I've got 2 boxes of Immortals, because I love Immortals, and I also love Death Marks. And luckily, the Immortals box is also the Death Marks box. I really love the heads on the Death Marks, and I would quite like those heads to be on the Immortals, if I'm honest, but I will see what happens with that. I may decide against that. It might get a bit too confusing, but if you've got 2 of these boxes that contain both of those, I figure I can make a 10-man squad of Immortals, or 2 5-man squads of Immortals, whichever you fancy when you're running them. And then, well, I've got all these Deathmark pieces. What am I going to do with those? Well, luckily, you get 10 Van Saar models. And I thought it would be kind of fun and a bit different and kind of interesting to work on if I had Death Marks, probably more than I'll ever want. I don't know if you ever want 10 Death Marks, but I'll have them. And what I might do, well, what I will do when I get them, provided it works, is use the Van Saar bodies and some of the Death Mark bits to make weird kind of hybrid Death Marks. Death Marks that have got a bit more bulk and shape to them that look suspiciously like there may be some sort of influence on their design and manufacture than is standard. Van Saar seem to fit the bill pretty well for that, because you've got an interesting array of poses. There's some nice kind of actiony poses going on. The bodies are high tech. Like the armor's sleek. It does have chunky bits, but it's a lot sleeker than most of the kind of human stuff that you get. It's all very uniform, and they have these weird kind of Xenos-esque pieces already on them, like the chests and torsos. Like that segmented look and all the cabling doesn't look standard Imperium or standard human. The weird cybernetic tendril coming out of the back, again, doesn't look standard. They already have this kind of almost insectoid feel to them here and there, which fits pretty perfectly with the Necrons. So what I've ended up doing is grabbing, as I say, 2 boxes of Immortals, because I can then use the Deathmark pieces on the Van Saar models, complete with heads. I'm not going to give them normal fleshy heads, that would look weird. The arms and the heads will be replaced. I'm going to be spreading the tendrils, like the mechadendrite things, across multiple different models. There'll probably be there'll be a few that have them, not all of them. I want it to denote something a bit different. I'm yet to work out what that is, but I want that to be like a mark of importance of some kind. And there's all sorts of bits on these guys that can be utilised elsewhere. I'll then, of course, have a whole metric shed load of interesting weapons, and I'll have the arms to hold them, since I'm not going to be using the arms from these guys actually on the Necron models, because that would look a bit too weird. And little gubbins like this guy's got on his belt, I can leave off. That can be used for probably a dreadnought somewhere down the line. So yeah, that's kind of what I've ended up deciding I'm going to do with this gang, because I do like the look of them. And I had initially, way back, thought, when they first were shown off, I was like, oh, Imperial Guard army using those would be kind of interesting. That would be a bit of a fairly unique take. But then all their weapons look so cool, and it felt like it would be a bit weird in the end. I just didn't know whether it would work properly next to the really kind of rugged industrial vehicles. I mean, obviously you could just convert all the vehicles, but it was a half-formed idea, whereas the minute I saw I saw Zeraz and then the trailer for the Silent King, I was like, I think I know exactly what I'd do with these. Don't know how easy it'll be to do. Probably not all that easy. I mean, it depends on what the width of the bodies is like. There could be some severe hacking and chopping required of both torsos and arms to get them to fit properly. But taking the arms off the death marks, taking the heads, putting those onto the bodies of those is, I think, an easy-ish start, although it require a bit of work. And yeah, it's going to be fun to try, to be honest. Even if it's not a 100% success, I could also, if I wanted to, actually just fit half of them with Deathmark gear, and the other half could be given the other 5 weapons for the Immortals, because you've got the Tesla carbines and the Gauss cannons as well. So you could have I could have 10 Immortals with one of those, and then 5 with another set. So really, I could just end up with a shed load of Immortals, but then the Immortals would then all look a bit different, so I don't know whether I want to do that or not. We will see. We'll have to see what happens. It's going to be interesting giving it a try. But yeah, that is the Van Saar gang. I really like these guys. They look really cool. The models are pretty unique, and as always with stuff like this, all it needed was the right bit of motivation to find something that might be a bit different and a bit fun to do with them. So I'm looking forward to giving that a try. Let me know what you think of these guys in the comments down below. If you've done anything with these that, well, I was going to say that aren't just the standard thing. That's not the point of these videos. They are very good by themselves. I just can't stop kit bashing stuff. So if you have a Van Saar collection, then by all means link it in the comments. If you've done anything else with them, then of course let us know as well. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video subscribe, all that stuff. There's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games. It's a nice way to support the channel if you would like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.